beautiful souls, it's Tan here today to talk to you about the Virgo Pisces signature, or Neptune in the 6th house and the likes. So I would recommend that you watch my Neptune introduction video first before jumping right in. So I'm going to leave a link to that up there and in the description box below, where I talk about Neptune and how it relates to your transformation. And also I would recommend that you watch my video on using astrology to reprogram your subconscious mind. Links up there and in the description box below, so that you can have a better understanding of what I'm talking about in this video right here. So this video is going to apply to you if you have the following signatures. So I'm going to list them up there, and they're in order of strength. So starting with the strongest aspects or signatures to the least strong. Okay. So if this would apply to you if you have Neptune in Virgo, Neptune in the 6th house, Mercury in Pisces, Mercury in the 12th house, Neptune in aspect to Mercury, Neptune in aspect to planets in Virgo, Neptune in aspect to planets in the 6th house, Virgo ruling the 12th house, which means you'd have a Libra rising, yeah, and Pisces ruling the 6th house. So let me give you my example. For example, I have my Mercury in the 12th house. Although it's in Gemini, but its Mercury is in the 12th house, so I would give myself one signature, okay? Neptune, I have Neptune in aspect to Mercury, okay? It's in a biquintile aspect, which is not gonna be very prominent, really prominent in my life, but it's there, so there'll be two signatures, okay? So you would kind of feel this energy more if it's, let's say, 2 or 3 or more signatures and it's in hard aspects. You would feel it more if it's in a hard aspect. Okay. So please make sure to keep in mind Maurice Fernandez's 7 phases of the Neptune evolution while I go through this video, because the things I say will be based off of that. So when we have a Virgo Pisces signature, we have a theme of higher self craftsmanship. So Virgo is about that aspect of Mercury that has to do with the refinement of our skills in order to be as effective and efficient as possible, so that we can make a real change in the world, okay? So we can provide our service to the world. And Pisces is about offering our service to the world just by being, not really having to do anything, but just by being and kind of surrendering to the divine efforts. So when we put the two of them together, we have a contribution that we can make to the world that is a healthy balance of using our skills, human efforts, okay, and divine efforts. Surrendering to life, and put them together, all right? Because you see, leaning to one extreme without balance is going to cause chaos, and we end up with no spiritual fulfillment and no practical security. So now let's go on to talk about how the Virgo Pisces signature can manifest in an unhealthy manner in our subconscious if we're not aware of it. So if you have this signature, there's an innocence to you when it comes to order. Actually, I'm not really sure if this is the right word to be using, but it's as accurate as it can be to describe what I'm about to say would be the word order, okay? So there's a belief in your subconscious resulting from something that happened back in your childhood days that life is already self-regulating and is perfectly self-regulating, meaning that there is already order that exists within life. And things just kind of work without us human beings really have to do anything. Life is reliable and people are optimally productive, and nothing can really fail. You may at this stage believe that if any problems occur, they can be fixed pretty easily and everything's gonna be just fine. So the danger of this innocence is that 1, you may make minimal effort to sustain life, to maintain life, sorry. In other words, neglecting tasks that are the basic functions of life. So this can include, poor hygiene or wasting away your time with leisure activities that don't really bring you any income without an awareness of the consequences of this neglect. Or you may be on the other end of the spectrum and have a high expectation or a high belief in the excellence of life and people. This results in low tolerance for accidents and a strong reaction to anything that you consider to be of poor standard. This can lead to perfectionism, but it could even be superficial perfectionism, such as that of, physical beauty. You may consider, dirt or ugliness to be a flaw that needs to be fixed. Or you may have both of these extremes inside of you, leading to a kind of internal paradox. For example, someone with this signature might, let's say, be very well groomed, very hygienic, but somehow forgets to pay the bills every month. This results in an internal state of chaos mixed with order, okay? Because you have paid so much attention to the details of one facet of life while neglecting a very important detail in another area of life. Now, there are a number of situations that can occur which will cause the Pisces, Virgo individual to be jerked back to the reality of order in this time and space dimension. Okay, so now and you'll kind of lose your naivety about order and be pulled back to reality, okay? Now, it's very important that you pay attention to these situations in your life. They may not happen abruptly, they may be very subtle, but you've got to pay attention to them because this is telling you, it's an opportunity for you to learn, to grow, to have awareness about it, all right? If you let it slip by, then you're going to be repeating the same patterns over and over again, okay? And make sure that you don't resist it. Make sure that you accept it fully. So first, neglecting task will cause you to be jerked back to reality because one, you can begin that the chaos in your life, starts to consume you and starts to cave in, and it's almost eating up at your life. An example may be a health issue that, is blowing up, because you have been not going to the doctor to get a health checkup because of your poor hygiene, because of your poor eating habits. And ultimately, you begin to deliver less satisfying service in your work until you realize that maintaining life is fundamentally, survival first. So you need to do the things in this life so that you can survive, in this time and space dimension. And that includes, taking care of your body. 2, you can find yourself in problematic situations in life, unprepared, and then not really being able to find a solution to the problems because of the lack of the foundation on how to solve problems. You may at first resort to just dropping the problem and kind of running away, but then you realized that, it catches up with you and you can never really run away forever. In these situations, the foundation for order has not been laid out properly, either probably because you had parents that kind of just took care of all the nitty-gritties in your life for you, or kind of growing up in a city where the environment itself neglects you, so a city with poor infrastructure, or poverty. So what if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you are expecting high excellence in life? This will jerk you back to the reality of order in this time and space dimension in a number of different ways. You may expect people to be hardworking and serving to the world, so you take that onto yourself, meaning that you are going to take on too much responsibility and too much work, too many tasks at once. Working too much basically, and your to-do list can get pretty unrealistic. I understand, you guys, I sometimes do that. I made all these lists about things I'm going to do in the day, but it's too unrealistic. But you're doing this because you feel obligated to do everything yourself, and everything is important. There is no discrimination of what's more important, there's no real understanding of what takes priority over other things, which isn't really going to work because you're going to feel pushed for time and then rushing everything and then not really being able to perform fully in your task. Is it really worth it? This may also cause you to have a bit of an issue adapting to environments which you don't necessarily consider to be clean. So nature, sand, wild environments. Just the rawness of nature itself can kind of make you irritated or feeling uneasy. But, well, the physical body, the substances of our body are made from the same things as the earth. And the food that we eat to put in this body actually comes from the ground. And the thought that humans are above nature or animals is the illusion of Neptune. And it will also take you further away from the people in your life if you can't adapt. In other cases, a naivety about employment may cause you to have difficulties at work because after all, Virgo does rule your working environment. Even though you may need an income, you may choose to just be free-spirited and not work in order to pursue leisure activities, leading to financial difficulties. But the lesson here is really knowing that, you know what, you have just wasted your useful and wonderful and amazing skills and talents. There could be other cases where there's people that are desiring to work but finding it hard to actually find employment, or difficulty in finding employment in the position that you want, so you can end up kind of compromising your skills and honor for safety and survival. Realizing that having skills and a degree doesn't necessarily guarantee work, is the reality of this time and space dimension. Well, that's heavy stuff, guys. So what do we do now? It's time to reprogram your subconscious. And it starts first with setting up defense mechanisms. Of course, I'm not saying that you should be living on your defenses, no way, but we definitely have to start setting a few of them up, setting some defenses and boundaries when we talk about Neptune, okay? It's perfectly normal to, after exposure to reality, find yourself going back to school in order to improve on your skills so that you can be back in the world of employment. But this time, to do work that actually benefits you, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You realize that you can't just settle for whatever that's available, whether that be the extremes of not working or working for a job where you have to compromise too much. You begin to focus on the one thing that you really need to do before, when you think about your time on your deathbed. What is this one thing that you really have to do? Because that thing is the one thing. You can make this vision a reality because your vision is now clear. It's normal at this stage to be a little sensitive to criticism, and you're wanting to kind of stay away from people by keeping a low profile so that you can kind of manage your life better, manage your life in an orderly way. This may be a lifestyle management, such as exercising regularly, paying your bills, or refining the skills that you have so you can be productive and not waste them away. This is an act of improving your productivity and part of the process of learning to build the boundaries surrounding disorderliness. It is at this stage normal to start to be very fearful of problems because initially you had kind of let problems, get out of hand by not really confronting them first. So it's okay to fear problems as long as we eventually, find a way to solve them by keeping a clear head, finding logical solutions to them, and having patience, because problems just can't be solved in the blink of an eye. And if you do realize this, you're going to begin to relax because no amount of anxiety or tension is going to make the problem go away anyways, nor is it going to make the solution manifest any faster. So meditative practices such as yoga or spending time in nature or actual meditation, can be very important at this stage. And plus, with a clear mind comes out of the box creative solutions. And all of this is to make the Virgo Pisces signature person feel more grounded, so that, and with that comes the ability to create a working routine that works and is based on improving your skills. So once we combine the practical skills of the Virgo with the higher visions of the Pisces, we have a higher self craftsmanship. As the seed of your new subconscious begins to grow, the Pisces Virgo individual, Neptune in the 6th house individual, will begin to see certain changes in their life. You may begin to challenge your own fears of impurity by venturing out into the outdoors and just seeing what it's like out there, getting your hands dirty and seeing what your immune system can do. And most likely you're gonna find that it's much stronger than you ever thought it was. It can feel so wild and free to just get down and dirty and break out of the box of neatness. And you know what is the strongest immunity booster? Not talking about vitamin C here, but the strongest immunity booster, guys, is a positive attitude. That can get you through anything. You can imagine like a person who's like in the hospital, right? But every day they're thinking, oh my God, I'm so depressed, I'm gonna die, I can't get through this. Versus someone who's like, I can do this, I can get through this, Who's gonna be the one that's more likely to, get out of that faster or recover faster, right? You begin to embrace life's uncertainties and let go of areas of life that, you can't really control. Quit that unfulfilling job to follow your true passions, even if you don't yet have a plan. But your heart, your vision, and your inspiration will get you there. Plus, having a plan can be quite liberating because it challenges our security. And without security, we are free and anything is possible. So the spiritual transformation of the Virgo Pisces Neptune signature individual is to understand both absolute and relative truth. So absolute truth for you is understanding that there is a divine plan, there is a divine order that has been created, that it makes no mistakes, okay? But the relative truth for you in this time and space dimension is to understand that human beings, people, we do make mistakes and we are supposed to make mistakes. Mistakes exist and that is okay. Because we have to let go of some control and we have to give a part of ourselves to the divine plan, the one that makes no mistakes. So us making mistakes is, in a way, the divine plan of the cosmic creation. You see how ironic that can be? Wow, thinking back, guys, some of the mistakes that I've made in my life have taught me some of the biggest lessons in my life. At the time that I made them, I was thinking to myself, if I don't learn anything from this mistake, if I don't grow from this, and if I don't change from this mistake, that would be failure. But if I do grow and I learn from it, then it's not failure, it's just a mistake. You begin to understand the meaning behind work, that it's not just about a money or a position or your place in the society, a role that you have to play. It's about energy exchange. That's what work is. Nothing in life can really be free, and we have to exert our energy in some ways, and we might as well just do that and exchange that with someone. Even animals and plants work, so it's kind of a collective effort that we're doing here in order to maintain, the function of the earth and the universe. We do our part, the divine does their part, and there's balance. You can see that the body and the spirit does not exist without the other. The body is a vessel for the spirit to be in so that it can function and it can manifest what it needs to. The highest potential of this energy is we can see someone who can really see and feel energy that resides in matter, and they can kind of have the ability to transform this energy through the healing arts. And this ability extends to the healing of people, animals, and the planet itself. So that's my take on the Virgo Pisces Neptune signature, or Neptune in the 6th house and other aspects that you have in your chart. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below. If you have this in your chart, leave a comment below. I'd like to know how strongly this signature is for you and how it's playing out in your life. And if you have already subscribed to my channel, then thank you very much for coming along with me on these astrology growth journeys. Growing together. Bye!